The knock on my front door that morning was louder than usual, urgent, almost angry. I wasn't expecting anyone. I had just brewed my morning tea, the sweet scent of jasmine filling my quiet home. For years, peace had been my closest companion after decades of sacrifice. But that peace shattered the moment I opened the door. There stood my son, Daniel, his arms crossed, and his wife, Megan, beside him with a smug look plastered across her face. "Mom," he began without a greeting, "we need to talk." I hadn't seen him in nearly 6 months. The last time, he'd borrowed money to fix his car. I never saw that money again, but I didn't bring it up. He was my son. A mother's love forgives, even when it shouldn't. They pushed past me and made themselves comfortable in my living room. Megan didn't even take her sunglasses off. "Nice place, Mrs. Turner," she said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Must be nice living like this all alone." My heart tightened. I didn't know what they wanted, but I could already sense it wouldn't be good. A few minutes later, Daniel dropped the bomb. "We know how much you make now." I froze. "What are you talking about?" He smirked, pulling out his phone and showing me a screenshot. It was my retirement statement, one I had foolishly left open on my laptop when he visited months ago. He had taken a picture of it. "You're sitting on more money than you ever told me," he said sharply. "Meanwhile, Megan and I are struggling to pay bills. You could help us." My throat went dry. "Daniel, that's my retirement fund. That's what I live on." "It's not." He cut me off, slamming his hand on the coffee table. "You're hoarding it. You're living here like some queen while your family can barely survive." Megan let out a dramatic sigh, pretending to look hurt. "We've been trying to start a business," she said. "But with no help, it's impossible. I just thought, since you have so much, you'd want to see your son succeed." I looked between the two of them, my son, once a kind boy who used to bring me flowers from the garden, and this woman who looked at me like I was nothing more than a bank account. "I've helped you before," I said softly. "Every time you've asked, I've given what I could. But this isn't about help, Daniel. This is about greed." His face twisted with anger. "Greed? You're calling me greedy when you have hundreds of thousands just sitting there." He stood up. "You owe me, Mom. You raised me to expect better than this life. You can't just watch me struggle." "Owe you?" The words came out trembling but firm. "I don't owe you, Daniel. I gave you everything I had, my time, my energy, my youth. What you do with your life now is up to you." The silence that followed was heavy. I could hear my heart pounding in my chest. Megan whispered something into his ear, and he nodded, glaring at me. "If you won't help us willingly," he said, "don't expect us to visit again." And with that, they stormed out, slamming the door so hard that my tea spilled across the floor. For days, I sat in my quiet home, torn between heartbreak and anger. I replayed the scene over and over, wondering where I went wrong. I had worked all my life, 2 jobs, endless nights, just to make sure my only child had a better life than I did. And now, that child had turned into someone who saw me only as a source of money. But I also knew one thing: I wouldn't let guilt or manipulation rule me anymore. A week later, I got a call from Daniel. His voice was cold. "Megan and I got evicted. We're coming to stay with you for a while." Something inside me snapped. The old me, the mother who would have said yes out of love, was gone. "No, Daniel," I said calmly. "You can't stay here." "What?" he barked. "You have plenty of space." "I do," I replied, "but space is not the problem. Respect is." There was silence on the other end. Then he shouted, "Unbelievable. You're choosing money over your own son." "No," I whispered. "I'm choosing peace." And I hung up. Days turned into weeks. For the first time in years, I felt free, not from my son, but from the constant cycle of emotional debt. I realized love doesn't mean giving in to manipulation. It means knowing when to stop letting people take pieces of you until nothing is left. Then one morning, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Daniel. My hands trembled as I opened it. "Mom," it read, "I'm sorry. You were right. I let Megan talk me into thinking you owed us something. She's gone now. I'm trying to fix my life. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I hope one day you'll talk to me again." Tears filled my eyes, not just from sadness, but from relief. Maybe this was the beginning of healing. Not for money, not for guilt, but for something deeper. Months later, Daniel visited again, this time alone. His eyes were softer, his tone humbled. He didn't ask for money. Instead, he asked for tea. As we sat together on the porch, I realized that sometimes, love needs distance to grow back into something real. I reached for his hand and said quietly, "Daniel, I'm proud of you, for finally standing on your own 2 feet." He smiled faintly. "You were right, Mom. I needed to stop blaming you for my life." The wind rustled the trees, and for the first time in a long time, I felt hope bloom inside me again. Because sometimes, standing your ground doesn't mean losing your family. It means teaching them how to truly value love, not for what it gives, but for what it means. Moral: broken heart. Never let guilt or manipulation define your love. True love means setting boundaries, even when it hurts. Because the greatest gift you can give your family, is teaching them independence, respect, and gratitude. Rose.